participant. If you want to let her in. Okay, so I'm going to start then. It looks like Center for Neighborhoods is with us and is ready to join us. So if there are no other questions, I'm going to awkwardly wait here for just another moment and make sure there's no other questions. Okay, so there are two people from Center for Neighborhoods that'll be joining us, Melanie Long and Jess Brown. Now, hopefully you've read the proposal and you can just don't even wait right now. Go ahead and start throwing questions you've got into the chat room. And then, and I will say that I'm going to ask them to be as brief as possible in their answers because only 8 minutes is not a ton of time to get to a ton of answers. So
they just joined us, Aaron.
Okay, great. So is it Melanie? Am I saying it right? And Jess, thank you for joining us. And I will let you start. So welcome to Encore Louisville. This is our Encore Louisville group. We are thrilled to spend a few minutes with you. And if you would just briefly give us like an elevator pitch about Center for Neighborhoods and a quick summary of the proposal.
Okay, Center for Neighborhoods, our mission is engaging with neighbors to build great neighborhoods. And so we're out there, we're trying to educate, give capacity to neighbors so that they can do a lot of the work themselves. They can get more active in their neighborhoods and do things, and they can figure out the way things work in the community. And so our pitch for today was, we have a new part of Center for Neighborhoods, and we are organizing the community development corporations or organizations. And we have a loose definition of that, but I would say it's any nonprofit that's doing economic development within neighborhoods. So we're asking that you all assist us in an organizational development and business plan for the emerging organization. And that would include some things like governance structure, membership structure, fees and benefits, marketing package like logos, maybe basic materials, a business plan in order to make it sustainable. And that's a really important part for us because we're trying to figure out how to make sure that we can maintain financial stability and be self-supporting, and a communications plan and structure.
Okay.
So that's my fast pitch.
That's perfect. That's perfect. So that people who may not know what a community development corporation is, could you name a couple just for examples that people might have heard of? And I know like One West is one. I know Bates has a CDC. That's the type of organizations we're talking about, right?
Yes, it is. And is it Molo Village? Is that the name of it? That's the one that just, they're building a new facility. They're one. But it's funny, some of the people we have in our group, we didn't even think of as community development organizations. Like there's a sorority, Alpha Kappa Alpha, who is doing a little bit of housing, and so they're in our group. So it's not, we didn't limit it to a specific group. If you think you're a CDC, then we'll let you in and we'll try and help you. So,
and just try to help them coordinate because they're all working independently and they'd be better together.
They would be better together. And not only that, some of them are only one person. Mm-hmm. And so it's hard to run a whole organization if you're just one person. So we're giving help. Sometimes, they don't have a bookkeeper. So we have, recommended bookkeepers for them and, people just to help with day-to-day running of their organizations and things like that. So we're trying to help them with everything. We were trying to help them with fundraising. One meeting this year, we talked to them about learning how to tell their story.
So the question in the chat room, how long has Center for Neighborhoods been around?
Since 1974. I'm sorry.
I'll say you guys have been here forever, I know.
Since 74.
1974. And how is Center for Neighborhoods funded? And what other organizations do similar work? Is there any other nonprofits that do the same thing as Center for Neighborhoods?
I don't want to sound like this, but no, we're the only, we really are. I mean, we are kind of unique in what we do. There's other organizations who might do little parts of what we do, but we're really strong on education and making sure people know what's going on. And so we do a lot of outreach. We do a lot of technical support, and we do, one of the things that we do is our Neighborhood Institute. That's probably our signature thing, where we have 30 people from neighborhoods come in and we train them over 12 weeks and we make them advocates. And some of the people who have graduated, I don't know, is Jess on? I can't see her, but she probably can tell you some people. But I mean, they've gone on to become council people, or just, I shouldn't say just, or just advocates for their neighborhoods, and they do a lot of projects within their neighborhood.
Jess is on here, so if you want to throw to her also.
Yeah, I definitely would agree that there's no one in town that's doing our kind of work. We actually have people from other states call us all the time to ask us, you know, what we do, to learn from us. But we have a really good niche understanding of like what it takes to do neighborhood-centered development and include people. So I'm the planning director at Center for Neighborhoods, and I look at the built environment, quality of life, some more of the systemic level issues that affect our neighborhood quality of life. So we do the whole range. We have education, we have engagement, we connect people, we do policy, we do plans, all for the betterment of making sure that every neighborhood in Louisville is a good place to live for everyone. And that CDC network is really our next step of, we're really good at getting neighbors together, but we've heard so much about how other nonprofits who are trying to do housing or start up a business or serve people through food pantries or do their own sort of programs within the neighborhoods, childcare, all these, there's a vast array of things that people are doing in the neighborhoods. They want to work together better to get better funding, to, you know, fix problems, to do policy advocacy. And so this is like a very big need that's been present for a very long time in Louisville, is to enhance collaboration. That's the biggest goal of the network, is so that we can have, we already have about 20 organizations that are members of the network. And we're trying to build up some structure around the network, and so that it can become its own freestanding thing and be sustainable over the long term and keep growing. So that is a really big area that we could use some support on.
Let me jump in because we've only got a couple minutes left and there's a few questions. So I'm going to do some rapid fire questions here for Jess and Melanie. Quick, one of them was where's the funding? Do you mostly fundraise? Are you city funded, grant funded? Where's the primary funding?
We mostly fundraise. We have some money from foundations. The Metro has given us $50,000 last year. We're in the budget right now for $50,000, but I don't know if we're going to get it. You know how their budget is right now. And we do a lot of fundraising.
I think you all answered Nadine's question already. David's asking, do you use VISTA volunteers? No.
No.
What's your organization and staffing like? How big? How many staff?
We have 9.5, but we're actually losing one today. Today is her last day. She's taken a job in Lexington, so we'll be down to 8.5.
Question about the size of your board. It looks big. Is that okay, or is your board too big?
It's actually great. There are 18 people, and the reason that it's so big is because we want input from all kind of sectors, and you'll have people on the board that represent all different kind of places and things. So.
And also about the board, we have spots for residents from our focus neighborhoods as well. So that's one of the reasons why it's so big.
Okay. A comment from David. I've attended some of your meetings. Each time I was impressed with the staff. And Ginger, who's in our Encore group, is a Neighborhood Institute graduate. So that's great. I'll add also that you guys have done some great resources. Like there's a neighborhood map that I always send out to the Leadership Louisville class, where you guys have a map of Louisville broken into neighborhoods with data for each neighborhood. So there's some other resources like that that the Center for Neighborhoods.
Yeah, and I'm sorry we didn't mention the mapping, because that's very important to us. And we have a map of the month every month. And so, you know, if you don't do anything else, at least once a month, go and check out our map of the month. It has a lot of interesting information.
Okay, awesome. Guys, I know this was like super quick. I apologize. It would have been normally a longer conversation, but we appreciate you taking a few minutes to hang out with us and answer some questions. So Jess and Melanie, thanks for being here. And well, we'll let you know soon if a team is formed for you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate your time. So then our next guest, Callie and Melissa, I think Callie is managing the waiting room. is Dancing Well, the Soldier Project, and Deborah Denenfeld will be joining us in just a moment. So go ahead and start typing up. If you already read the proposal and you got questions, go ahead and start typing them in.
Deborah is now with us.
Good morning, Deborah. Thanks for being here. We are thrilled to have you with the Encore group. I will tell you, we've only got a few minutes per guest, and so we're going to do our best to ask quick questions, and we look to you, hopefully, to give as succinct answers as possible for us. But Deborah, if you'd love to just start by give us the quick elevator pitch about the Dancing Well, the Soldier Project, and a very brief overview of the project request.
Dancing Well, the Soldier Project is an innovative approach to helping veterans who have PTSD or brain injury, and also their families and loved ones. And we have been doing this for about 8 years, and we've conducted a scientific study that found that participating in our program really helps reduce some of the symptoms of PTSD. We use community dance, group dance experiences, live music, and volunteers from the community. We build a family feeling among the participants, and it helps with depression and anxiety, and everyone ends up feeling very connected, which is really important. I've come to you today because I have been the primary mover and shaker of Dancing Well. I was the founder. I am the dance leader. I also run the nonprofit. And I realize that that is not sustainable to have too much being done by one person. And although I've had many successes over the years, what I haven't done is spend much time and energy on planning. I've been really good at being flexible to environmental changes and finding other ways to serve, but I have not been good at creating formal plans. So I would love to have the team work with me on helping me prepare to work with my board on an initial plan, and then I would have some skills that I could move forward in the future. So I know that eventually I'm going to need a sustainability plan. I also need an operational plan and a strategic plan.
So Deborah, several questions already, so I'm going to get to as many of them, and we'll do them as quickly as we can. What other organizations might be in this space, and have you worked to partner or align with other organizations doing similar work?
Yes, no one else is doing exactly what we are doing, but I do participate in VCAL, which is a collaborative organization in Louisville of everybody who's serving veterans, and I'm active with them. And I have tried to build better relationships and connections with Veterans Club, and there's a couple of other major players. I do work with the VA, and I participate in one of their task forces that have to do with serving the families of veterans. So I'm trying to build more collaborations.
How many clients are you serving right now?
It's really hard to say because with COVID, we stopped having our in-person dances, and I started a virtual dance party primarily aimed at kids of veteran and military families. And when people come, I don't know who they are. I don't know if they are truly from veteran and military families, but I will tell you, when we have our dance parties, we have served about 80 people. It's small. It's purposefully small because they need that personal interaction. But the dance parties are I'm getting anywhere between 65 and 263 people every week.
Okay. And so that was one of the other questions is how else have you shifted during the current pandemic when you can't do it in person?
Right. We stopped holding our live dances. One of the other things that I've started doing is check-ins by phone or occasionally in person at a distance with our veterans and family members that were part of our existing Dancing Well community. So we have those, and we have the virtual dances, and those are our two big programs. We have begun to organize to have Dancing Well gatherings virtually with live music happening and me leading some dance, but that is not happening yet. Still being organized.
A question here. I know we just had an Encore team work with USA Cares. So someone's asking, have you worked with USA Cares? This kind of goes back to the other, how have you partnered in other spaces?
We have talked. But we have not actually done a lot together.
Okay. Actually, I think I've gotten through the questions that were in the chat room. So anybody else in Encore Louisville have a question for Deborah? We've got another couple of minutes. If you have a question.
I'm very open to working with other veterans organizations. I'm the one that keeps encouraging them. Let's work together. Let's find a way. To me, it seems really wasteful that I go to the VCAL meetings and there are 40 organizations and there's so much overlap. Why are we not working together more?
Mm-hmm. Michael asks, if you get the grant, what would change?
Well, I hope what would change is that I would learn from seasoned professionals how to actually go about the planning process. And then I could begin to have more formal plans for the sustainability of the organization. I'm getting older. I need to find ways for this work to continue. And we have started, I had a pilot training of people interested in being dance leaders in other parts of the nation. But I haven't had the formal opening it out to the world. It's expensive to do that, and we haven't had the money. Another thing that I've done since COVID is I did hold a fundraiser, and that was fine. I stopped being paid. I am now on a volunteer basis, and that has allowed us to keep some money. We did receive 2 grants, so we have some money in the bank, and I am spending a bit of that on equipment for the virtual programs. But we have a little cash so that I hope we should be able to continue as things open up. It'll be a long time for our kind of dance because that involves physical contact at close range.
Yeah. Well, Deborah, this has been great. I'm sorry this is such a condensed format and we're not together, but thank you for spending a few minutes with the Encore group.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, and I really hope that you decide to work with Dancing Well, the Soldier Project. We're a great organization that's really changing lives.
Awesome. Awesome. Have a wonderful day. I'll be in touch very soon to follow up.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Deborah.
Bye.
Okay. So next up is the Kentucky Lions iBank. And so we're going to let Ashley Murray into the room. So if you guys want to pull up that proposal, be looking it over to review what it's about. And
Ashley has just joined us.
See what questions you have for Ashley. So Ashley, I'm going to start. This is Aaron. I'm just going to start we're going to throw it to you. Welcome to Encore Louisville virtual style. We've got a short window of time to talk, so we'll ask short questions, and if you can keep the answers as concise as possible. But start off with just spending about a minute and tell us quickly about the Kentucky Lions Eye Bank and about your request for the group. Oh, I think you're muted, Ashley. Hold on one second. We'll unmute you and then have you start over.
Can you hear me?
Yes, you're good.
Okay. Hi, everybody. We'll try that again. Good morning. The Kentucky Lions Eye Bank, we are a nonprofit organization where we recover and process tissue from the eye and the organ around the eye. I'm sorry, my cat just came in the room, so I do
It's all good.
so do apologize. So we partner with CODA and Trust for Life. They're an organ procurement organization. We partner with them, but we focus on the eye and the eye tissue. So we take the eye tissue and we process that for surgeons across the state of Kentucky in order for them to transplant them into recipients that are having eye issues ranging across the gambit. So that's what we do. We help uninsured and underinsured individuals also across the state of Kentucky with these surgeries. And we also provide services like our ASED program, which is a serum that we've created to help combat dry eye condition. So that is what we do.
And really quickly, the proposal, if you want to just kind of give me a sentence or two to summarize.
Okay, so right now, 2 years ago, the organization was kind of created, and it came out from under another umbrella from the foundation. Sadly, when that was done, there wasn't enough separation for both of the organizations to truly be able to build off of it. With the foundation already having that namesake and already being out there, they're able to continue growing. With us, we're kind of stagnant because most people think we are the foundation. So right now we are just in a place where we're trying to find our own voice and create a narrative for the eye bank. Without losing what we had with the foundation and that relationship and that back history, but creating something new for ourselves.
And what is the full name of the foundation?
The Kentucky Lions Eye Foundation, and we are the Kentucky Lions Eye Bank.
Okay, and you are separate, have separate boards, you are separate 501c3s.
Separate 501c3, we just happen to be in the exact same building, on the exact same floor, right next to each other.
Okay. And so Chris is asking your role here, and who is the executive director, and were they not able to join us today?
No, we have two offices. I am the development associate, so I handle all philanthropy and community engagement. We have two offices, one here in Louisville, one here in Lexington. Our CEO is in our Lexington office because we just opened up doing our surgeries and processing again, so we're kind of a little bit on the gun on taking care of that. Our CEO's name is Brad Tennant. He has been with the organization since the beginning, which would be the top of 2017, and he actually comes from Michigan.
Okay. What is the distinction between the foundation and the bank and your organization?
Not too much. That's where the issue lies. Our missions are worded different, but it's the same piece. We are here for vision care. We are here to help people with any vision-related issues. The only thing different is that we focus on the eye banking, the procurement, and the processing. And the foundation does more community engagement events, and they fundraise for the programs that they have.
Okay. What is your relationship with the foundation?
So we are two separate entities. Part of the agreement that was created in 2017 when the organization was pulled out was that 51% of the members from the foundation board have to be Lions members and then be on our board.
Okay.
So we're not connected, but we do have mutual board members.
Okay. Do you receive funding from the foundation?
We do not receive funding from the foundation, but per this agreement that was created, we do give the foundation a certain amount of dollars per quarter.
You give money to the foundation?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Are you working with the Lions clubs in Louisville?
Yes, so we were created from the Kentucky Lions Club. So we have opportunity to work with each one of the clubs throughout the entire state. And we have strong relationships with the groups here in Louisville, and we have strong relationship with the group in Lexington.
So what problem was being solved when they separated you from the foundation in 2017? Like, why did that happen?
Being that I am a new person, I just started in October and then COVID hit, so things just kind of went kind of a little AWOL for me. I'm not particularly sure why there was the decision to separate. I think the individual that was running the foundation at the time did not have the background for iBanking, so they wanted to put someone in that position, and I believe that just spurred separating the entities.
Okay. I'm looking through the chat room here. If the missions are similar but operationally different, why not merge back?
You know, great question. I think about that all of the time, and I feel that there is a structure that can be created where we can be one entity, but I'm not particularly sure if that is even in a thought process for our board.
Right now, okay. Question, where does your funding primarily come from? Do you charge for your services?
Most of our funding comes from the services that we have, but most of those dollars go for operation costs. So any fundraising that we do have comes from grants, individual giving, mostly Lions Clubs, to reach out to all of our Lions Clubs, and any fundraising avenue, revenue source that we can create. There was no one that did any fundraising prior to me coming on board in October of last year.
Okay. Question, it says you've created a fundraising and development plan that includes marketing and branding guidelines. Where does this fall short on helping you develop the identity and niche that you seek?
I am not a marketing person, but working for nonprofits, you tend to wear many hats. So being that person, I try to create a marketing guideline for us to feel as an individual, but I'm still needing the guidance to get us there. I don't have that skill set on my own. I think about it, but I don't have it. And no one else on our staff has that skill set. So we're really looking for help to really find that identity and create that narrative.
Okay, great. I've gotten through all of the questions. We got about 30 seconds left if anybody else has a quick question to throw in here. And if not, then Ashley, thank you for joining us. Sorry, this was so quick. Normally it's much more casual.
Really cool. You're on it and you're taking the questions. You are on it. You guys are knocking it out. I appreciate it.
Hey, this is George Demery. I like to at least say hello to all. How are you?
I'm doing great. I know I owe you a lunch. We'll make a date.
All right. Good to see you again, girl.
Good to see you.
All right.
Okay, well, that's fine. So thank you, Ashley. We'll be in touch soon to follow up. Probably Monday. I'll let you know where we're at. And thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you. Have a great weekend.
You too. Okay, guys, we're going to keep rolling through. I know this is a lot. I know this is can be a little exhausting. This is a similar format we do with the Ignite classes. So I know there's a lot to process, and there's not even really a break in between. Our next guest is Amy Miller from Louisville Literary Arts. So I think Callie is going to let Amy into the meeting.
Amy has just joined us.
So if you guys in the Encore class, welcome, Amy. If you guys want to look at the proposal and be ready with your questions, feel free to go ahead and start typing your questions into the chat for Amy. So Amy, again, welcome to Encore Louisville. Sorry for the change in format. We've only got a few minutes, so we'll ask concise questions, and I would love if you could give as concise an answer as possible so we can get through as much as we can in the time. If you would like to start, can you tell us just really quickly about Louisville Literary Arts and a brief overview of your proposal for us?
Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me. So I just want to give you a little bit of background about who we are, and then I'll sum up what our proposal is. Louisville Literary Arts supports a community of aspiring writers with high quality instruction and literary events that celebrate writing as an art form. We would like to become the go-to community writing center for lifelong learners seeking to improve their writing, grow their writing careers, and engage with other writers. Think of the Carnegie Center in Lexington. LLA is experiencing a pivotal moment. We've experienced a lot of growth in the diversity of our participants. We've had a greater number of participation in our programs, and we've had a surge in membership. So we're poised for even more growth. However, we've had a lot of change in the last 2 years. We've had tremendous board turnover, and we lack a real solid structure for systems to support the growth of the organization. What we're working on right now is realigning our mission, vision, and purpose to match the needs of our supporters and our participants. But we also must clarify who we are and how we differ from other organizations. We know we need to focus on what we do best and really need to focus on how best to deliver what we do, given what our stakeholders want and our limited resources. I'm the only employee, and I'm part-time. Our big value questions are: how do we move Louisville literary arts to the next level, and how do we keep it sustainable?
Okay, thanks, Amy, for the overview. First question from Steve is, do you partner with any other organizations?
We do. We partner with a lot of different organizations depending on the program. So for our annual festival, we always partner with University of Louisville Creative Writing Program and with Spalding University, whether they provide a speaker or space. And then various other programs we have. We've worked with Waterfront Botanical Gardens, Creasy Mahan Nature Preserve. There's a million other that we've worked with, but yes, we do partner, and it just depends on the program and where we want to have the program, because we do not have an actual structure that we call home. We're virtual.
Okay. Next question is, how many writers do you serve in the community?
Oh, I don't have the total number, but I remember doing the Kentucky Arts Council grant, and if we're talking about participants throughout the year, I would say it's between 500. I would say 500 to 600, and that's participants in our workshops, readings, the people we bring in, and our annual festival, as well as we have writers meetups that are monthly, and now we're doing webinars pretty much every week ever since COVID started. So, and those have been very successful.
Okay, great. Have you evaluated other city literacy programs? Have you evaluated other city literary programs such as Iowa City?
Oh, Iowa's, I mean, that is like the top one. And I do have a contact there who I have not managed to get in touch with yet, but we've been in constant contact for as long as I've been with the organization, which is 4 years now. We've talked to folks at the Lighthouse in Denver, the Loft. I just spoke to the Loft last week, which is a major one in Minneapolis. We've spoke to people at Hugo House in Seattle. And then a favorite of mine is the Porch Writing Collective in Nashville. And they've been incredibly helpful because they are just 2 steps ahead of us. And so I really rely on them as a model.
Okay. Do you have a relationship with the Spalding University Master's Program?
Yes, I'm a graduate of that program, and many of our first board members were also graduates. We were formed by a graduate of the program and a current faculty of the program, so we maintain a very strong relationship with them.
Okay. Do you look at publishing the works of the writers in a collective book for fundraising?
No, we are not a publishing organization. We are strictly a resource for writers to improve their craft and for community building.
When were you founded?
Okay, that's a complicated question. We began as a reading series in 2004, and we still produce the reading series. It's called Inky in Kentucky. And in 2010, the the two founders decided to do a literary festival or writing festival, and we've been running that. It's called the Writer's Block Festival. So we are going on 10 years of that festival. And that's when they started forming the nonprofit, which was made official in 2014. We received the paperwork on that.
Okay, great. How does a possible Encore team fit under your new strategic plan?
Okay, so we do not have a new strategic plan. Our strategic plan runs out in this year. And one thing I do want to say is that we, I think like a lot of organizations, have not been great about using the strategic plan as a roadmap. And I want to make sure that we don't just write a new plan, but that we actually have action steps for implementation. So I believe that the Encore team really could guide us in strengthening the overall structure of the organization, help us develop systems that we implement, and help us prioritize what steps to take for greater sustainability. And if you want details, I can give you more details.
Well, let's roll with that for now. Question from Doug. Are you a writer yourself?
Yes.
Okay, great. David, you've got like 5 questions here. Okay. Do you offer services or have partnered with K to 12 schools? That's the first part of the question.
We generally work with teens to adults. There's another organization in town that works with school-age children.
Well, that's actually his next question. Does the Louisville Writing Project or the Kentucky Writing Project still exist and function?
No, I'm not even sure what that is. Maybe it does, but we have Young Authors Greenhouse that goes into the school system, and Louisville Story Program does some of that work too.
Yeah. Young Authors Greenhouse, by the way, folks, just had an Ignite team very recently. And the last part of David's question, what is your outreach and partnerships with writers of color, underserved communities, etc.?
Well, that is something that we want to definitely work on. Right now, we keep our costs, or participation costs, at a very low minimum compared to other organizations, and we offer scholarships to anyone who needs one. We try to hold events all over the city so that we aren't just focused on one area of town, and we ensure that all of the writers that we either bring to the reading series or we bring to instruct our class are a diverse representation, not only of race and ethnicity, but also in publishing experience. So we want to look at emerging writers as well as published writers. We want to support anyone who is interested in writing and making their writing stronger.
Okay. And then we're actually out of time, but I'll go ahead and ask this last question from Paula is how do you raise your operating funds? So where does most of your budget come from?
So that is something that we are really looking at right now. It has been a lot of revenue building through programs, and the board has been very hesitant in the past to do much of the fundraising, so it's fallen on me, and we're trying to change that. So we do participate in Give for Good. We do annual giving days like Giving Tuesday, and we're looking at creating our first fundraising event. And right now, it's probably going to be a virtual event.
Okay. Amy, thank you so much for your time. I know this was quick and rapid fire, but
okay.
Thanks for pivoting and doing this with us today. And I'll be in touch to follow up with you in the next couple of days.
Fantastic. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Amy. Okay. So Encore friends, it looks like Demarion Fleming with Sowing Seeds with Faith isn't here, and I had not gotten a reply from him, so I wasn't sure if he was going to make it or not. Now, I need to find out if he still is interested in a team and just couldn't make it. Some of you might know Demarion. He had an Encore team 3 or 4 years ago. I want to say, Marty Bell, you worked on that team, or at least you were involved in vetting that project. Demarion's a great guy. He's an Ignite Louisville graduate. He's had an Encore team before. but I don't know what to do because he's not here, and I need to find out if he's not here because he can't handle a team right now or if he just couldn't be here. So I don't know whether to include him in Vote With Your Feet or not. But we're just going to blow past that problem for right now. And we'll go to Make-A-Wish is next. So, Callie, if you want to let Kim Hale into the meeting, and folks in your packet, if you want to go to the Make-A-Wish project.
Kim has joined us.
Okay. Thanks for being here. Thanks for joining this reimagined Encore Louisville meeting. And
Yes.
we've got a short window of time, so
Okay.
they're going to start throwing questions into the chat box. We'll ask concise questions, and to get to as many as possible, we'll look for as concise an answer on most things as you can. But if you want to start out, just tell us quickly. I think everyone's heard of Make-A-Wish, but if you want to give us a quick, very quick overview of what Make-A-Wish does, and then a quick summary of the project.
Sure. Make-A-Wish grants life-changing wishes for children with critical illnesses. We obviously are part of a national organization, but locally we are part of a 3-state chapter. So we are Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana. And Kentucky is its own region that operates here in the state, raising all the money and granting all the wishes for kids in Kentucky. But again,
is there a board just for the Kentucky, or is there a
is.
board for the 3 states?
So there's a governing board for all 3 states, and the chapter is broken up into 6 regions. So there is a Northeast Ohio, a Northwest Ohio, Southern Ohio, Indiana, and Kentucky. Oh, I'm missing one. Oh, and Central Ohio. So Columbus is its own. So Ohio has 4 regions that have their own boards. Indiana and Kentucky each have theirs. So our board serves Kentucky, and we serve the entire state.
So quickly,
It's not even office in Louisville.
okay. The proposal. Tell me a quick summary of your proposal.
So I think one of the biggest challenges when you work for an organization like Make-A-Wish is that it seems like a huge national organization with a ton of resources behind it, which, you know, admittedly it is. But when you look at what the regions are doing, and so what we do as a chapter and what we're doing as a region in Kentucky, we have a lot of misconceptions to overcome. Again, that we're a huge national organization, that we're not local, and that we have all of this funding and everyone's sort of donating all of these things in kind, and we never pay for a Disney trip or an airline flight. And none of that is really accurate. So I think our biggest challenges are being part of the community. And in full disclosure, I think I was hired in October, and this is a relatively new position. There hadn't been a lot of leadership in the office here in Kentucky. So there are 8 people, including me, 3 program staff who grant wishes, a volunteer coordinator, and then 3 additional fundraising staff. And again, raising all of the money and granting all of the wishes in Kentucky. And so I think without that leadership position, we've really struggled to have a great board who kind of understands our needs. And so that is where our 2 biggest challenges are. Some of our messaging and misconception, and then having a really strong local board leadership.
Okay. I'll interject before we get to the question. So
Sure.
To the Encore group, my career before Leadership Louisville was in broadcasting, and the morning show that I was part of, this is back in the 2000 to 2011, we worked very closely with Make-A-Wish for many, many years. And I don't think it's not just sending kids to Disney World. This saves lives. Like, you see these kids and these families get these wishes, and it gives these kids a reason to keep pushing through the chemotherapy and the treatments and all this horrible stuff that they're going through. So I always take up for Make-A-Wish isn't just granting wishes. It's like there are medical outcomes proven because of this.
Thank you for that. And actually, there was a research study done just a little under 2 years ago out of Nationwide Children's Hospital in Columbus that actually can prove that it's not just anecdotally that, you know, wishes are a good thing to have, that there are more compliance with treatment, there are fewer hospitalizations, there are less healthcare costs for kids who do have a wish granted.
So what are your primary funding sources for the wishes?
So primary funding sources, individuals. That I can see some of the chats. That 1.275 is all of Kentucky. So not just the board is not responsible for that, but that is the fundraising goal for the state.
Do you have to kick money up to the national organization? Do the local chapters
No.
fund the local chapter?
No, what happens is that Make-A-Wish America does direct mail campaigns and all kinds of that. So what happens is anything that comes through from our area to Make-A-Wish America, they keep 5% and we get 95%.
I know the number used to be that the average wish was like 6,000. Is that the number you're still using?
It's 10.
Okay.
And again, that 10,000, that's inclusive of, so the average cash cost of a wish is about 6,500. So that 10 is the overall cost, including in kind. So, and again, they average anything from, you know, a Disney trip is actually probably one of the lesser expensive options, because we do have such great partners in Disney and Give Kids the World. That costs for a family of 4 about 6,500. But we try not to limit the wishes that kids have, aside from a few things we won't let them do, like, you know, anything that involves shooting anything or, you know, some things like that. But, you know, we had, and unfortunately had to postpone those right now, but 2 wishes to go to the Olympics, and those cost a significant amount more than that, $10,000. So the average is 10, and currently, because of everything that's happened, a lot of those wishes that would have been for travel are now for things that people can use at home. So a pool or a camper. So those camper wishes are becoming more and more popular, and they're very.
How do you select recipients?
So they are, there's an entire medical eligibility team. So any family member or medical professional can refer a child. They go to our medical eligibility team, who determine whether or not those conditions qualify, and then they are placed into, once they're qualified and they've talked to the medical team, and the medical team approves any of the, you know, there are some kids who can't travel, so they'll approve kind of what conditions they can have related to their wish. They'll go on a wait list. And at this point, we have about 400 kids waiting, and we can grant, in a normal year, and not right now, about 150 wishes in Kentucky.
Okay. Question, Nadine has past experience with Make-A-Wish. There was a need to recruit more board members in the past. What have been the biggest challenges to recruiting new board members?
I think, again, so being here since October, that has been, I think, a challenge in Kentucky for a while, and has been my experience since October. And I'm not quite sure the answer to that. Again, I think it's a little bit of messaging in who we are and what we're doing here locally. To know that it isn't you're not serving on some, you know, organization that's going national, that we need people who are connected to the community here, who can help, again, not only fundraise, but get that message out about changing some of those misconceptions. And I think that's probably the biggest struggle.
Okay. Susan asks, have you used Leadership Louisville to identify new board members? I don't think you have. Have you?
We have.
Okay.
Peggy actually sent out an email, I don't know, a couple months ago now. Time has lost a lot of meeting. It was before this shutdown, so I guess it was long.
Yeah.
But she did, so we've talked. So I'm an alum of Ignite from 2011, and one of our other staff members did Ignite a couple of years ago. So we
Cassidy.
have ties. Cassidy, yeah. So we have, and I've talked to both Peggy and Holly about trying to recruit some board members. I know they sent out an email on our behalf, but with things in the situation they are right now, I think it was probably in late February, so there hasn't been a lot of response. But I have gone through the directory and kind of looked at who is interested in children and healthcare, and looking at board recruitment from that tool as well.
Okay. Kim, we are out of time, unfortunately. Sorry, this was so rapid fire, but thanks for spending a few minutes with us.
Thank you.
I'll follow up with you in a couple of days and let you know how things are moving forward.
Okay, great. Thanks so much.
All right, have a great weekend.
Bye.
Okay, Encore friends, our buddy Demarion joined us, so he was just running a little bit behind. So glad he's here. Let's go to Demarion next, Callie, if you would. And
He's
so,
joined us now.
Demarion, how are you, my friend?
He's probably
He might
muted.
be getting his audio connected. So if you guys want to pull up the proposal from Sowing Seeds with Faith, and Demarion, we've got only like 8 minutes to talk to you, so we'll throw questions at you, and if you could be as concise as possible in your answers so we can get to as many questions as we can. But give us a quick overview of what Sowing Seeds with Faith does, and your request from the Encore team.
Sowing Seeds with Faith. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Sowing Seeds with Faith is an out-of-school academic enrichment program that focuses on social growth. We have over 200 kids in our program. We do out-of-school tutoring, weekend mentoring, and summer enrichment. Our goal is to make sure our kids are adequately and equipped, prepared both academically and socially to be able to take on any task that comes their way. Our ask was to create a more of awareness. In the last 4 years, we probably became one of the largest out-of-school enrichment programs in Louisville, and we really didn't have no direction on how that happened. That's more geared around word of mouth. Now we're trying to be more strategic and create an online presence. When people do a web search, they are more likely to see Sowing Seeds with Faith. So our ask was to create an online opportunity where we have more of an online awareness. We was awarded $50,000 a month in Google Ads. We just don't know how to utilize it. We don't know how to push that initiative forward. So we're looking for individuals who can help us get an online presence, have an online capital campaign that goes beyond Louisville, Kentucky. We are in 3 different states, but it's not because something that, again, we intentionally done. It just kind of happened and took that direction. So we want to cater to that. So we want to push that initiative a little bit more and put a little bit more strategy behind it and becoming more socially accessible for those beyond Louisville.
I know what the first question is going to be when it comes in the chat room, so I'll just ask it is, last 3 months, coronavirus, how have you guys pivoted some of your programming for students?
So now we are a non-traditional program. So we do bike rides. We had the largest bike ride over the last 3 weeks. Over 250 kids have been bike riding. We have incentivized our program to where any kid that takes the initiative to get up and do any kind of academic enrichment, whether it be through the JCPS module, whether it be through their parents' requirements, whether it's something they do on their own, they submit a project, we incentivize them. And we have real incentives because we cater to kids west of 9th Street. So we know that 90% of the kids in west of 9th Street have more than one child in the household. So they're sharing technology. So we're giving kids laptops, TI-83 calculators, game cards, basketball rims, bikes, real incentives. So we raise money to give kids real things, the real tangible things to get them active and give them the excitement to want to get up and do work on their own. So that's been our pivot.
Okay. And how many, you said 200 kids, is that for a full year, or is that, how many kids do you serve?
In a year, we can get up to almost 500 because you have a dynamic of 150 in the summer, and then you have tutoring, so kids come and go. It's a revolving door through both the fall and spring semester.
Okay. Were you doing online tutoring at all?
Yes, sir. We did a lot of virtual online tutoring and still doing it to this day.
Okay. Have you worked with other organizations working with kids in JCPS? So what other nonprofits are you partnering with for anything?
All of them. So I chair the OST program, it's out of school service time. So we work with Big Brothers Big Sisters, St. George's Institute. We work with the YMCA. We work with JCPS in general. We work with AMP is one of our big partners. So those are just a few. So we don't really deter any partnerships.
Has somebody asked specifically Cabbage Patch? Is that an organization that you've partnered?
We've been in partnership with Cabbage Patch. Actually, their education director has actually came and did some curriculum work with our organization.
Question about the faith part of your organization. Would you speak to how it fits in?
So we're not a religious-based organization. We just teach kids that it's always a bigger purpose. So it's always bigger than you. So believe in something beyond yourself, and that's more purpose-driven. So we don't preach college per se. We preach gift. So whatever that gift is inside of you, we want that to come out. So our job as adults is to cater to that and make sure we water and nurture it effectively so your gift can make room for you.
Someone asks, have you used the Center for Nonprofit Excellence as a resource?
Absolutely. So me and Merv Antonio are almost like best friends. We text pretty often.
Okay, great. I think I've gotten through all the questions right now. I'll throw one out there because you had I believe you had an Encore team about 3 years ago. Do you want to talk about what they helped you with the first time around you had an Encore team?
So I was actually, they helped me get strategic planning. So they came in and helped me get financials. They helped me come in and do board work. They helped me come on and get goals, short-term and long-term goals. They helped me get articles of incorporation. They helped me with completing my bylaws because right at that time I was very, very new and I just didn't know what question to ask at that point. So they was able to help give me questions and then answer.
Okay. Paul is asking, how do you measure success? What does success look like for Sowing Seeds with Faith?
Outcomes for us, we do use the YPQI tool with blocks now, but that's the tool we use be part of the Metro United Way agency. But us is we use report cards, we use map scores. So our biggest measurement tool is taking the spring map scores, applying
That's
summer.
a standardized test that JCPS uses for the.
Sorry, yes. So we take those spring map scores, apply summer enrichment and curriculum, and then compare them to the fall map scores to show how we was able to move kids and reduce summer loss.
Okay, great. Demarion, you are better at answering questions concisely than anybody we've had, so kudos to you. All right, questions are still coming in. Well, actually, this is more of a testimonial. Linda Valentine says that Demarion is impressive in program design and connecting with JCPS, funders, and influencers in Louisville. He teaches values as well as academics. So I guess Linda has already familiar with it.
14 back in the day.
Okay. John Fleming wants to know if you could, again, reframe the need right now. And I think it has to do with you in the digital space, which I don't know if that's in the skill set necessarily of Encore, specifically is in utilizing Google Ads. Maybe there's some folks in here with experience in that, but talk through again the need. And by the way, John Fleming wants to know if you guys are related.
I don't know. I'm trying to figure that out too. We'll figure that out in a minute, John. So what the need for us is, we just want more awareness from an internet standpoint. We want to be part of people's Google search. We want to have more synergies from anybody outside of Louisville. So we want to become one of the top searched organizations, one of the top tapped into, because we know more awareness produces more funds. And with more funds, we can make more of an impact.
That was my question. Is this more on the fundraising side or is this more participant growth side? Awareness.
Well, I think in our aspect, we probably get worse hand in hand. The more participation, the more funding. So I think the more impact you make, the more people get behind it. And just to give you a small example, small testimony, a lady called me from Texas for their National Center of Relief Philanthropy. And she said, man, we just happened to be Google searching and we found that Kentucky had this going on and we typed in something and you popped up. And then somebody started looking into it and then we realized what you was going. So we want to get behind you and fund. If we can get more of those opportunities, then we know we're making more of an impact for this to become a national brand. Okay.
All right. We are running out of time and the questions. Michael asked, Michael, we already had the question about the faith part. You don't have to be religious to participate in the programs, Demarion.
Oh no, we're not a faith-based organization at all. We don't even teach religion or none of that. Our faith is just believing in something bigger than yourself.
Okay. Well, thank you for jumping in here. Sorry we had to pivot from a in-person meeting to a virtual meeting, but it was good to see you on the computer anyway.
I appreciate you all giving me the opportunity and the platform to be able to make an impact. You guys are awesome. Thank you, Melissa. She's been very, very super helpful and has really opened up some doors for me. So I'm extremely grateful for her and the work that she's doing back there behind the curtain.
She's the best. She is the best. All right, Demarion, thanks. We'll be in touch very soon to follow up.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Okay. Great. Glad Demarion was able to join us. And our last one, if I haven't lost the room yet, is Camelitha Livingstone with Tip It Forward. So, Callie, if you want to let Camelitha into the room.
She has just joined.
And good morning. Sorry, running a few minutes behind. I'm Camelitha. Is that correct pronunciation?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you so much for being here. So we got a few minutes with you. We're going to fire off a bunch of questions, and if you can be as concise as you can so we can get to as many questions as we can. But welcome to the Encore program right now. We'd love to learn a little bit more about Tip It Forward. So if you want to get us started, just a quick summary of what Tip It Forward is and about how you hope Encore can help.
Yes. Thank you. Well, it's nice to be with you all this morning. Good morning. My name is Kamalita Livingstone, and I'm the director of Tibet Forward. We deliver trauma-informed holistic healthcare to individuals who have limited or no access. We do this through workshops and a mobile health unit. Our mobile health unit builds on the research conducted by the Harvard Medical School and the Mobile Health Project. In light of COVID-19, our clinics and our partnership with the Family Health Center and Volunteers of America were canceled. So we pivoted to create holistic care kits, which I would like to show you all. The services that we offer on the mobile health unit are three primary areas: through mindfulness, massage therapy, and movement therapy. So these holistic care kits integrate a lot of what we teach. So here's the box. There's a myofascial massage release ball. There's a TheraBand physical therapy stretch band to increase stability. There's 2 essential oil blends for calm and pain relief. There's a card pack that summarizes and gives instruction on each item in the kit. We have also developed videos that highlight and give examples on how to use each item in the kit. Our primary work is about giving non-drug options for pain and anxiety relief. So while we know that everybody can benefit from this type of care, we prioritize African American women, low-income communities, and refugee women. I really believe you all can help us a great deal in terms of developing and refining our strategic plan to get more detailed and hone our independent revenue streams so that we can be financially sustainable. And that is our particular ask for help from you all.
Okay, great. So they're going to be typing questions away in the chat box. And the one question that has come up with everybody is just kind of how have you been pivoting during coronavirus? So it hasn't popped up here quite yet, but I know it's coming. So what work have you guys been doing over the last couple of months as you've had to pivot to virtual?
Yeah, so I mean, the big thing that we did was to create these holistic care kits because we couldn't see people in person, because one of the areas of treatment that we give is through massage therapy for pain relief. So that's primarily how we pivoted. We received a grant from the doTERRA Foundation, which is a essential oil company. We received grant funding from Anthem that supported our kits. And so far we've distributed, they just got completed, so we've distributed about 55 kits. And we've distributed them to community health workers that represent a variety of organizations like Louisville Urban League, Passport, Anthem, Humana. And then we've distributed to frontline medical workers at the Family Health Center that are running the COVID testing sites.
Question from Steve: how are you raising funds right now? What's your primary fundraising sources?
Yeah, so last year it's really primarily through individual donations. We've had some grants that has helped, but primarily through individual donations.
Are you connected with a physician or medical organization in development of kits or monitoring progress of patients? I think you kind of touched on that.
Are we connected to a physician?
Or medical organization in development of kits or monitoring progress of patients?
We use a World Health Organization well-being index. It asks 5 questions to assess someone's state of well-being and perceived sense of calm that has been evaluated. We do a pre and post survey. So we've done all our pre-surveys so far, and it just hasn't been enough time to do the post survey in terms of evaluation and impact.
Do you charge for your services?
We charge for the services that we offer to businesses and corporations. So last year we piloted a workshop series that we did charge for our health unit services, our clinic. They are free. The services are free.
Are you only serving the Louisville area? Kind of how big is your footprint?
Since we're a startup, we are only serving the Louisville area. We're not able to expand beyond Jefferson County right now.
Michael asks, it seems to have a small board. Are you looking to expand your board of directors?
Yes, absolutely. This is a priority. We have been steadily working on it. It has been stressful because everyone is stressed out because of the pandemic and really stretched thin and getting used to new working environments.
What is the breakdown of your costs, people and materials, etc.?
Can you ask more specifically what you want to know?
I think they're looking at like what percentage of your budget goes to staffing versus materials versus, I think that's how I would interpret the question.
We don't have any paid staff.
Okay.
This is actually one thing that we want to develop and why we need your help, because the independent revenue streams are going to allow us to pay staff. So right now, everything 100% goes to services and development of curriculum.
Great.
We've had, well, just to rewind a little bit, we've had some like contract services, very small amount.
Okay.
Like 1%.
I'm sorting back through to see if I missed any questions. We got about a minute left, so if anybody else has a question to throw into the chat room, please do so. We got about a minute left for Kamalitha. And if we don't have any more questions, we can start to wrap up. So thank you for being here. Mike says he lost volume. Can everybody else still hear? Is everybody else still hearing? Am I seeing thumbs up? Yeah, okay. Everybody can still hear. So thanks for joining us. Sorry, this is kind of a weird pivot from the in-person, much more casual conversation to getting grilled like the FBI for 8 minutes. But we appreciate your time with us, and I'll follow up in the next couple of days.
Okay.
Let you know.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity.
We appreciate it. It's great to meet you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, guys, I know that was a lot in a short period of time, but why don't we take 5-minute break so that you can stretch, you can refill your coffee cup, and look at your notes, and then we'll come back. I've got it at 11:26, so let's come back at, actually, let's just do 10 minutes. Let's just do it till 10 minutes to 11:36 for you to stretch, look at your notes. We'll come back and select teams, answer questions, do all of that type of thing that we would normally do. So go ahead if you want to close your camera. Don't log off necessarily, but if you want to mute your camera, whatever, and we'll be back at 11:36 on the nose.